Oh, hey, hi, hello, welcome on in. We are playing some Hunter the Reckoning. Um, we're going to go around the room, introduce who we're going to be playing this evening, and we'll go ahead and get started tonight. And we'll go ahead and start with Warren.
Hi, I'm Warren. I am playing Brick. Brick is a hunter who likes to shoot things and handle things very directly, including ghosts. In his defense, it has worked so far.
It hasn't not worked, unfortunately. Uh, next up, we got Justin.
Hi, I'm Justin. I'll be playing Katrina Trina Foster, and I forgot what was the next part of the question.
There wasn't any part of the question.
Oh, well, then I'm completely
Just
prepared
jam.
then. Yes. Woo!
I'm so proud of you, Justin. First try. Next up, we have Rob.
Hi, I'm Rob. I'm going to be playing Jonas this evening.
Very wonderful. All right. And next, and certainly not least for this evening, we have Ian.
Hi, I'm Ian. I made it just in time. Um, I am playing Riley Loverboy Hartmore this evening, and I'm ready to have a goddamn attitude. Like,
Aren't you always?
yeah, but this is different.
Oh, okay. Um.
What's her face pissed me off last week, and I'm ready to fight her.
Whoa, that's messed up.
I'm going to say I'm ready to have an
All she
attitude.
did was lay out some really accurate, logical steps that they were taking.
All right, I'm gonna fight Brick too.
Hey, Brick, do you know there's a job opening at this new corp? And we would like you.
Can I bring Trina and Tank?
Something, something, the greater good, something, something.
Nailed it. Um. So, as a sort of recap, you guys had gone through and had a nice, relaxing time at Riley's new abode when things began to get spicy very quickly, as not one, but two Monsteros began to appear and slowly make their way to the house. Thanks to Caden, as well as some quick movement, you guys were able to create a distraction throughout the house that allowed you guys to sneak out through the master bedroom window, get into a car that Riley had hotwired, and get out. But that is not before realizing that Morgan was kidnapped by someone, and someone left a kind, beautiful flower for Riley. A red crimson rose. I wonder who that could be.
I have my thoughts.
We know. But there was a familiar group that was also there at the house keeping watch as a couple inside of a news van began to make some noise and sort of distract the Monsteros so you guys could get all in and get away as you guys had a meetup, as it were, at the um, at the center and decided to put some guns away before walking into a government facility, uh, going down to the secret sub basements, and began to have a rather heated conversation as you guys began to see different supernatural creatures and an empty box that had a cross laying inside of it. But you guys continue to head to the what looks to be almost dissected Monstero that you guys had killed and left this organization, grabbed up what they could, and then quickly got out so they could do some research. it began to get a little heated as some maybe some minor misunderstandings were taking place. Things that were being discussed that might have been too on the nose without maybe even realizing it. But
She knew what she said.
oh, she knows, but she doesn't know the impact on you, Riley. Um, but Riley and Jonas decided to take their leave and take some time to blow off some steam a little bit. As they said that they would be happy to give some resources that they could to try and find Morgan, but they had a little bit of a bigger priority currently, and it's getting some information on how to kill the Monstero. There was some conversation going back and forth on how many holes in their research that they had before they gave the very political answer of, well, you want better information, sometimes people have to fall to the wayside a little bit to get the better information. And that did not sit well with a number of our hunters this evening. But we're going to head to pick up the scene. If you have any willpower spent, feel free to go ahead and get some of that back. If you took any sort of superficial health damage, you do get your stamina amount of health back as well if anyone took any sort of superficial damage. But that being said, we're going to head and pick up our scene inside of this sub-basement as Brick and Trina sort of stayed behind for a moment to give some information on the Monstero while Jonas and Riley were slowly being escorted out of this portion of the hallway heading back towards the elevator.
Sorry about that. They got a little emotional there.
Well, I can't say that I completely blame them. It's this sort of business gets to you after a while, and some aren't just cut out for it.
Why don't we just get down to brass tacks and take a look at the whole reason we're here?
Right. I apologize. I meant no, Trina, we've had dealings before. I can be blunt, I assure you, but I mean no ill intent by what I say, just because...
I know, darling. It's just, we don't know where the other person's been, and sometimes certain wounds are just a little fresher.
I can understand that, but if we take the time to tend to every wound, we lose time.
I don't disagree, honey, but let's stop wasting time.
She sort of nods and looks over to the Monstero before she hooks up her tablet to a docking station, and a large, projected monitor pops up and begins to type away, opening up the data file for the Monstero. So, what all did you guys happen to gather with your hunt on this creature, as it were?
Well, we found out that if the shooter's effective enough and packing a large enough caliber weapon, they can actually do some damage to it. Which, I mean, she kind of pats Brick on the shoulder. He did all that with 2 handguns, honey. We're not even talking about, a long arm. He knew, you got skill right here.
Right. Okay.
There was some luck, and yeah, it was close
He's
range.
just being
which helped.
shy.
Well,
Go ahead.
No. Either way, it's impressive to say the least. We haven't had a whole lot of opportunities to be able to test it.
With the remains, have y'all been able to determine if it has any weaknesses to like fire or cold, or have you tested anything acid? Which, oh yeah, that's another point. They do explode like aliens. You know the movie Aliens. When
Yeah.
you kill them, yeah, they pop and shoot acid everywhere. So just be careful.
Yeah, we saw, as you can see, like the even though it's dissected, you can definitely tell the main stomach area has still like blown open. Um, I am glad you mentioned. We assumed that you were responsible for the wound here, but very good to know that it explodes as you had mentioned it. Um,
Eh,
Y'all probably saw the kill in the grass. I know that's kind of a random point, but the grass around the house was uh, unnaturally dead.
and you think that's a correlation with this thing, this creature?
Yeah, I don't know. It's we noticed it. It was
Sure.
At the
definitely out there.
Rice's home, was their grass similar in pattern?
It was not similar in pattern.
Okay.
It was very lush and full of life.
Maybe that was a ghost then.
Well, we'll make note of it. Again, it's not the best of information, but we'll take as much information as we can. Um, as far as you're concerned about testing, we have tested a few things. It's hard to test on a non-living subject, just because the body may not react as appropriately as we may, assume. Um, but we could tell that it still reacted negatively, or it seemed had a great impact with fire. Um, seems to be rather flammable.
Good to know.
And that goes for the acid that's involved inside of it as well. I don't know if it's maybe that is the inner lining, so it's more flammable in nature. But it did cause a amount of bubbling or expanding in that nature. So if you lit one of these things on fire, it could have a similar impact as what it did after it expired. But again,
Hmm.
hard to tell whether that is the case while living, or if that's just how it's internal.
Fire on the next one then.
I would
I'm
love
gonna
to know.
ask you an odd question. You don't happen to have a flamethrower in your arsenal that we could borrow?
Um,
I mean, let's face facts, honey. We could go back to that house and probably jump up and down on the floor and have a couple monstros come crawling out of the woodwork and give us an opportunity to give that bad boy a test.
if you'd be willing to test and come back with said results, I wouldn't be opposed to having a piece of technology go missing for a few days.
Karina gives a look to Brick.
You ever heard the phrase "subtle as a flamethrower"?
No.
Look, honey, we've caught ourselves with the ass in the wind 3 times with this son of a bitch. I'm not about to. If we could light him up like they do in the Thing movie, where you just hose him down until he's, a puddle of grease, I'll be happy.
At a certain point, I think the police will have some concerns about Riley's apartment.
Well,
It's a good
we'll make
possibility.
sure he pays up on his renter's insurance first.
I'd be
I'd like to point out I raised burning that place down as an option a while ago. It seems like now
Hey,
we're going back and finishing the job.
Well, now we've got the option and the tools to do it.
Again, if I will say it's not exactly the most legal of tools. So if something were to happen, we are not going to be held responsible, is all I'm saying.
In this line of work, honey, I don't think anybody's going to be sending you a medical bill. Chances are, if things go 6 ways from sideways, we're going to be dead anyways.
It's a good possibility. But I
So
would
it's
just like to put the
not like we're
disclaimer
having
out
this
there.
conversation right now, anyway, right?
Exactly.
I don't know who you are. What?
I've never met you before.
I appreciate the professional courtesy. I just have worked with individuals who weren't so professional, and I will say that it didn't end up very well to them. I'm not saying that that is a threat of anything of that capacity, but just making sure that everyone is on the same playing field and no one's playing some 3D chess, as it were.
Honey, right now, the only enemy I have either has fangs, fur, claws, or scorpion tails. If you've got a pulse running through your veins and you consider yourself a member of the human race, you're not my enemy.
Speaking of fangs, what
Hmm.
have you got for blanks? I'd appreciate any weapon
Any
advice.
assistance we could have, because we're going to have a problem with them too.
I remember your friends saying something about a possible blank issue. Um, a lot of what we see in the movies are half true. A stake to the heart does seem to have impact on them. Um, garlic, not too much that we've noticed. They don't seem to care for the smell, but don't really have any sort of impact. Um, we've only seen a couple that have actually have a true impact to holy water. Um, but fire still does a lot. And exposing them to sunlight, if you have any sort of capability doing that, works wonders.
Do you have any fire bullets?
I can't say that we do. And again, we aren't typically the ones that deal with that breed of monster.
Would you be able to reach across departmental lines and see if they have any tools that they need tested in the wild?
Fire bullets are a thing I'd like to point out. It's way more practical than a flamethrower.
I, unfortunately enough, don't have any sort of contacts out there. I'm sure they exist. I'm just unsure of who they would be, at least in our area.
So this whole facility just does ghosts and werewolves?
As far as I'm aware of, yes. I mean, again, our corporation mostly deals with ghosts. But we've been dabbling and trying to gain some information in some other things because, how do they say, business is low currently.
Hmm. Well, we'll just take the flamethrower then.
What a small request, of course. And you do see her pull up a, it looks like Outlook more or less. But the two is redacted. Um, as she begins to type up an email and a request for traffic camera access, seeming to fulfill her, as you can see her type, asking for camera access between the last 2 to 3 hours for Riley Street and the surrounding neighboring streets as well, seemingly filling her portion of attempting to help Morgan. I don't know how long it's going to take for us to get access to these cameras. this unfortunately is part of the very, very unfortunately bureaucratic side of this business when it comes into tapping into the cameras that we have available. But as soon
You
as I
can
fear,
only do what you can do.
agreed. And I hope the rest of your cell notice that I'm at least trying here. I know that corporations get a sort of a bad name for stepping on the little people, as it were. But not all of us have it out for our friends.
Well, I can see us having a long and fruitful working relationship, and we'll keep each other informed and provide whatever data we can. And so, are you inclined to believe it would be a boon for you personally, professionally, if you were to bring these things in? Because I know you were interested in the address and location of where these things were. Uh, I'm assuming that's so you could send a catch and kill team if necessary to bring these things in. And I'm assuming that having these things in your possession would then lead to professional development for yourself. Would that be an accurate statement?
I mean, I wouldn't say that it would definitely help boost the career in the right direction. But honestly, I'd be more inclined to be able to. Your group has very big hearts, and that's odd for people in our field. And if they're truly worried about the people's safety, that's the best way to do it, is to bring it in so that way we can study it, we can research, and we can figure out how to accurately stop these things. But yes, it would be beneficial for not only myself, but the entire corporation and realistically the world if we could grab this information and be able to spread it to our international teams as well.
And what's your research cycle look like when y'all get your hands on these things and start developing technology based on your research? Typically, how long before you've got prototypes that are in the field for testing?
Prototypes that are in the field or prototypes that are created? Those are very
Well, I
two different
mean,
things.
I guess what I'm looking for is that maybe we could have a mutually beneficial relationship where if you develop technology and you need it tested in a real world environment, maybe we can be your go to crew to test this technology out. Would help us by giving us some advanced technology to help deal with these things and allow you to get some real time data.
I would be interested in something of this nature, but I will say we haven't really had any sort of prototypes being put out that weren't ghost related. Um, because again, this is new field for us, and especially these creatures itself. Um, our typical prototype is about 5 to 6 months for creation, and then another 3 to 4 for testing in our own facility before we then send it out into have field tests. So realistically, you're looking at anywhere between 10 and 12 months before we have field testing available. But that also depends if we have technology already readily available that might be altered to also fulfill this thing where maybe we don't need as much time testing it in our own facility. If that makes sense.
Certainly. And if we needed to get our hands like on some specialty ammunition, is that something that you could help facilitate, or no?
I can certainly try. I will not make any sort of guarantees. Again, it's a lot of what we deal with is ghosts and spirits of that nature, and typically you can't shoot those.
Certainly. I'm just assuming, contracts with the government, all that fun stuff.
I am but a project manager, but I can definitely try.
Okay. Well, Brick, you got anything else?
No, I think we got what we need.
All right, Sugar. We just picked that flamethrower up at the front desk, or
No, please come with me. We'll get it written off.
excellent.
And they continue across the hall and head past your good old friend, the werewolf, in the middle of the room, as he just eyes you the entire time. And you see Kate sort of keep an eye towards him, but continue to try to like look away and continue to walk forward. And you just hear the ear-piercing sound of a nail going across glass and leaving that mark all the way down as it tracks and it continues to like walk with you.
They're gonna drop that cage again, honey.
Maybe they'll put you in here with me next time. Hey, Kate.
That wouldn't be fun.
Your friends aren't, Never mind. And Kate stops, looks between you and Werewolf, looks back. She shakes her head and continues to walk forward. As you do, go ahead and same sort of biometrics, intensity, key card, fingerprint, eye, all goes in. As you begin to see an armory that is filled with different armors. All do have the simple Orpheus Group logo on it. Very subtle, not trying to bring it out or anything like that, but mostly Kevlar armor. But there is a couple of rather large, almost like biohazard suits, but they're made out of like metal, that are sort of standing up, almost looks like they're on a mannequin, but standing up in the corner. And they have these rather large, what almost look like the size of like a minigun that is attached with a wire, like a thick cord, from the back of the minigun to the back of one of the metal suits.
I didn't realize y'all were Brotherhood of Steel up in here.
I don't know who that is.
Was thinking the same thing.
Yes, this well, if you get a job, we'll be happy to explain what it does.
Well, I think I can figure out what it does.
Yeah, that part's pretty straightforward.
I think there's some surprises.
Oh, I'm sure, honey. I'm not saying it doesn't do something I don't think it does, but looking at it, I got a pretty good idea of what it does.
Just out of curiosity, what's the job requirement that necessitates one of those?
In putting it into the simplest terms, more or less traveling to the ethereal plane.
The what now?
The plane that sort of overlaps our own, where ghosts reside.
I'm sorry, you did that whole song and dance about not shooting ghosts, but you got a minigun toting suit of armor to shoot ghosts.
Oh no, it looks like a minigun, but it actually like takes some ghosts, we should say, have like a very high electrical charge to them, and this takes that away, so they're less potent. And sometimes, if they are weaker than some, it actually absorbs them all up. And we can use them as batteries.
It's a ghost-powered, ghost-shooting minigun.
There's no gun part. It just takes it in and turns them into a AA battery. Not really, but you get the gist.
I asked you when I came in here if y'all had proton packs, and you told me no.
I don't know what a proton pack is.
You need to watch more movies.
I don't have time. I live in a movie.
Well, that's a fact.
I'm aware. She begins to go over. And then now you get to see some more normal weaponry of guns of different calibers, long arm, short, handguns, shotguns, and a multitude of different style of grenades. But you do see one of 3 flamethrowers that are just hung up on the wall with multiple canisters underneath.
Rick, do the honors.
Believe it or not, I'm not really a flamethrower guy, but yeah, I'll just go and grab the first flamethrower.
Okay, well, one of us is 5'2", the other is over 6 feet and loaded with muscle, and I'm just saying.
You can handle the flamethrower, but fine.
As you go ahead and pick it up, grab a canister or two. Now, I'm not going to be oblivious to the fact that most of you have some sort of fake identity. I feel like if we can trust you with this, you can trust us with a real one. And not so that we can hunt it down or anything like this, but so that we can come back and collect what is ours if you happen to expire.
I
Why
feel
would
like
you
I can
think?
virtually guarantee you if we expire with a flamethrower, you can't recover it.
No, but we might be able to recover things in your home that make up the difference.
Oh, honey. Oh, honey.
Yes.
All of my worldly possessions, my truck, everything I own, you might be able to fill that thing up with gas. Might.
Wonderful. And that's a good start to the payment.
Do appreciate you pretending you don't already know who we are, though.
I'm going to be quite honest. I don't know who a lot of you are. And to be honest, and I don't mean this to be offensive in any sort of way, it's not worth the resources.
Everything I have worth taking's under the name that you got.
Duly noted. And well, if that's the check we want to write, that is more than happy. Obviously, for legal and safety reasons, I'll have to escort you off the premises with said device, as well as making sure that the canister stays disconnected until you guys are off the property.
That's fair.
Please, this way. During this time, Jonas and Riley, you guys have been escorted up, have returned your badges, and head outside. Sort of wait for the rest of your team. Anything you guys would like to discuss and or do while you guys are waiting? You guys have probably about 10, 15-ish minutes before we will reconnect the rest of the spooky crew and the mystery machine.
I mean, if we're outside, then I would assume that Riley is very aggressively smoking a cigarette at the moment.
Yeah, but also Jonas is going to be like, I think they're going to be a bit. I'm going to go get some coffee, and offer to get Riley a cup of coffee as well.
Just continuing to smoke the cigarette, you kind of get waved off, not in an aggressive way, but just in like a nah, I'm good, but I'm not using my words at the moment kind of way.
Fair.
The last thing that Riley wants to do right now is be a dick to Jonas.
Progress. So I do think that it would be a sort of public conversation. So I guess, does Riley have anything that he wants to talk about? Because otherwise, Jonas is going to ask about stuff that that younger people than him would be interested in, and that he doesn't know a damn thing about. Basically.
No, like Riley kind of starts saying something a couple of times, but then quickly like shuts back down. Like you could see them actively trying to pick words, and it's almost like they can't find the words that they're looking for to adequately explain or anything like that. They're just kind of spiraling in a not even like they just are this like ball of frustration at the moment. So it's lots of like,
that,
you know what pisses me off? No, fuck that. No. Back to aggressively smoking a cigarette.
the thing with academics, people who study but don't walk the walk, they really don't know the human stories very often.
What am I gonna do to tell them that I'm the human story and end up in that whole glass cage? Like, I barely walk the walk.
I guess I'm making some assumptions about how you've lived your life so far, but can't imagine that the usual way that you treat people who want to ask you uncomfortable questions be put your name on one of those boxes and study you is to correct them in their erroneous assumptions. Just let Kate be Kate. She's gonna keep doing whatever she's gonna do, and try to stay off her radar.
And while trying to stay off her radar, I'm just supposed to be okay with them.
No, definitely not. But gotta pick our battles. Not that we're not the type to tilt at windmills, but governments are a whole nother thing.
Yeah. This is whole new charted territory for me. Before any of this happened, I was existing in my own little world of do what you're told and don't die, right? And now the burden of knowledge and responsibility feels like it's being shirked where it shouldn't be, and I'm upset about that.
Yeah, you should be. But I think it's important to know that this you have sort of the cost and the advantage of being a freelancer is at the end of the day, if we end up making a mistake, there's no safety net. No cavalry going to come in and rescue us from our bad decisions. But, as far as the opinions that Kate's going to share with us, she didn't make them. Her boss didn't make them. Their boss didn't make them. They were made so many layers up the chain that you'd have to go and convince somebody that Kate probably has never met to change their mind in order to change how she's.
I don't know. How absolutely fucked would it be if all those layers up the chain were just not even where they're just more petty pawns in something that goes bump in the night's chess game with an adversary from forever ago.
It's a danger. It's a real danger. And he's going to glance back at the building and be like, "That's why I'm working out here."
Oh, that's fair. Well, I learned something tonight. Next time we
Yeah,
have
and
to
it came
deal
pretty
with
cheap.
yeah. Next time we have to deal with anything or anybody out of this damn building, I'm out. I'm staying home.
It's all right. Trina seems to be on their good side. I think that Morgan too. Assuming that Brick didn't side with us too vocally, I'm sure that Brick will be plenty welcome there.
I think you will as well.
I know a couple of the folks in there, and
Do you just make a habit out of just like knowing cops and mega cops? Like,
no, different.
okay.
Well, I'm sure you know this. I've lived a few lives, and
Get that.
the mega cops aren't from the same life as the.
That's fair. I hate putting you in this situation, but I kind of put some powder in the palm of their hand. And like, do you mind if I smell the roses real quick? Thanks. And you, while you're looking away, you just hear. All right. Thank you. Whew.
Jeez.
Yeah. No. I like I said, I hate putting you in that spot.
No, let's not talk about it. Less I know, the better.
Cool. You said you were down for like looking for coffee. I'll walk with you. I think we've got some
Yeah.
time still.
Shortly after you guys return with your coffee, you guys head over and meet back up, and Brick and Trina have exited the facility, and you guys do see Brick carrying a rather large object. Hard to tell from this far away, but Kate is standing off on the edge of the property, letting you guys get there, and she just sort of watches as Brick takes. Now you guys get closer. Brick takes this flamethrower and begins to put the canisters in the back of the truck.
Actually, I think it was Jonas's sedan was the only
Yeah.
set of wheels
Yeah,
we
the
had.
truck.
that were-
Yeah, the truck still has its tires slashed at Riley's house.
That's right. Yeah, so you guys are in. So I guess you're just waiting for Jonas to get back so you can open up the trunk.
Toys, huh?
What kind of car does Jonas have?
Just like a mini sedan. Think a Civic or something like that.
I can pretty much guarantee you this is the coolest shit that's ever gone to the trunk of a Civic.
Okay. So wait until that gets all loaded. Open up the car, get in. Wait for everybody else to get in. So did we get homework to go with the toys, or?
Well, I may have negotiated that we might try to use it on a Mostro to see how it responds to fire.
I think
Am
it
I
might
to
be
use
home
on
fire.
other things too?
I mean, whatever we get up to.
Sorry, Brick, you were saying?
Oh, they think the monster might be vulnerable to fire. And I raised the point in there, but I'll say it again. Can't just run around with a flamethrower.
and we certainly don't want to use it at Riley's haunted house. I guess, Riley, you don't care about that long term, do you?
I mean, I would rather not lose out on the money that I put into that place.
So we'll make sure you get your renter's insurance.
Okay.
All I'm saying is that that's the one reliable place we know we can find the Mastro that won't have any innocents around, right?
I have a thought. What if
Fire
we
away.
find? What if we? That's exactly what I'm thinking here. Fire away. We find the tunnel, shove the business end of the flamethrower in it, and just turn it on. Make a
Well-
bunch of noise at the end of the tunnel, and then
They're not attracted to noise, though.
make enough of a rumble that try to get their attention. And when we see something starting to peak, we just jam it in its mouth and pull the trigger. It's not super elegant,
this
but
plan is sounding more and more aliens. Right, we got the equipment from Wayland Yutani. We're gonna go down into the tunnels with a flamethrower and screw around with monsters. Let's just remember how few of the main cast survived any of those films.
dibs on Ridley.
Yeah, no.
I'll
of
hang out.
Naples.
I'll hang out in my underwear and a tank top right now to prove the point. I do not care.
Not to keep recasting our merry band, but I think that Rick is probably the Ripley of our crew.
Well, I was gonna go with Trina as the Ripley, and I would be Hicks.
Yeah, that's fair too. Anyway,
Dibs on Jonesy.
I guess where do we find a tunnel?
Well, there's one in the back of the house, and I think one up front, isn't there?
Didn't we see one where the guy jumped into the pit and died horribly?
Oh yeah.
I think we
Well,
saw.
so yeah, I did want to ask Bruce because I certainly know that. Is there a role that we could make to put together that the Charles license that we found was the same Charles that we heard when we were getting pancakes? At the very least, to have that hunch that we could go investigate.
Yeah, go ahead and roll intelligence plus investigation, DC 4.
Yeah, that's not going to be me.
You asked for the roll. This is what you get. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Let me see if I can somehow squeeze 4 successes out of 1 dice.
Wait a second.
That's a hefty difficulty to figure out that the Charles that jumped into a hole is the Charles that died to the monster that lives in holes.
Oddly, I didn't do it.
Shocking that.
Weird.
Then yeah, the
I
hole in
don't
the
think
back
I'll
of the house,
willpower
I guess,
that.
is all we know.
Indeed. So, as soon as you guys begin to leave the premise, Kate begins to leave and head back inside. But you begin to head off. Where would you guys like to go? Heading back to Riley's house, or
I think we'll go to the center.
it's fair.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Please don't let any of the other people there see the toys.
I think we better head to the tire store, if I'm being real honest.
What? It's late in the evening, right?
Oh yeah, it's very late at night.
I think we're looking
many
at
dots are-
AM before we're going to be able to get anything done about that.
How many dots and resources do you need before you likely have AAA?
Yeah, you probably at least got one. It's not that bad.
Walmart for some fix-a-flat, and then we can at least bump them up and get them off the driveway.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. We also may want to report. I'm wondering if it's to our benefit or not to have a history of burglaries and violent crime happening at that house before it potentially burns down.
Well, you already made the phone call, let him know that our friend
Yeah.
had been kidnapped and people were trying to break into the property. So we've got 2 homicides and now an attempted break-in and a kidnapping, which I'm really surprised no we haven't heard from the officers in regard to that. Your door might be kicked off its hinges, by the way.
I say we haven't been home.
Cross that bridge when we get there, I guess.
I hope you didn't have anything expensive. I mean, it's
Don't
a nice
forget Grand
neighborhood
Theft
and all,
Auto.
but oh yeah, shit. Grand Theft Auto, yeah. Your neighbor's house. They lost that fancy station wagon.
Yeah. Oh man, what a fancy station wagon. What a shame.
Honestly,
Hey.
as old as that car was, I might have just been shoplifting.
I think we did
It's
them a favor.
a misdemeanor at best.
Misdemeanor. I barely. Never mind.
All right, well, I guess let's go by and do a little inspection on them tires and see if Fix-A-Flat's even going to do it. Because if the cuts are big enough, it may not make a difference.
I mean, when I was looking at it before we dipped, I'm pretty sure it was like one of them monstros had gone like fangs to tires. I don't know if it's even worth inspecting, trying to fix a flat that way.
Those things finding a way to hobble their prey sounds inconsistent with what I've read about them and what Kate's saying about them. So I guess let's go have a
Right. And like there's nothing scientific about the about my thought there. Just kind of conjecture for conjecture's sake.
yeah, it makes sense. But
I do agree, though, the systematic slashing of the tires is out of character for what we've heard.
But they did show that they're a lot more intelligent than we thought they were. When they knew we were setting a trap for them at the bottom of the chimney, they tossed down a piece of a body just to kind of test the water, so to speak. They're sharper than we think, unless somebody's pulling their strings remotely.
Well, I mean, I have thoughts on that too, but it's all unsubstantiated at the moment.
oh, I'm pretty convinced that the leech is pulling the strings, or at least figuring out where to let them out.
I mean, but like literally, riding passenger and dictating what they do.
I have a thought on the family, not necessarily the thing in the basement, but on the family as a whole. And I know we were kind of kicking around the idea of picking up the husband, right?
Mhm.
I think we should sooner than later, and kind of use him as a gauge to see where the rest of the family's at if they are afflicted as I was.
Did your master have the ability to just know where you were? Like if you were apart from them, could they tell like where you were, like see through your eyes or anything like that?
I don't think so.
But you don't know.
But I don't know for sure. But given what I know of my previous, I don't know what the hell to call them. Everything it all feels weird. That guy, I know he was real persuasive, similarly to how Derek is, and I mean, sometimes it felt like I was in a different space or a different place altogether, and I could just hear him calling my name. But I don't think he had any of my senses.
But do you think he knew where you were? Like, without knowing where you were, do you think he knew where you were?
I'm gonna go with no.
Okay, but is that like a 50-50 no?
Yeah, I would say it's a 50-50 no. I wouldn't put it too far outside of the realm of possibilities for others. But from my experience of it, I don't believe that that's what was happening.
So my concern with picking up the husband is let's say they can know where he's at.
Right.
We're picking him up at prime time for this thing to be out on the streets. And if it detects distress in him or realizes that he hasn't come home at 2:30 like he's been directed to, that thing may go looking for him and it may know just where to find him. And let's hope Brick's got his flamethrower on and lit when that happens, if you catch my meaning.
100%. But what if we do it kind of twofold? So we go into it with the mindset of we've got insert time frame here, right? Like assume like we've got an hour before it gets dangerous or whatever, and we hole up and we get ready for this thing to come looking just in case it does. And if it doesn't, cool. If it does, that just made this whole thing easier. And we put the barrel in the thing's mouth and pull the trigger.
What if we go ahead?
I don't mind the idea of using the father as bait. I guess my questions there, well, I'll say I'd rather that we could find a way to get rid of the thing without having to get too close to it ourselves, or at least
Agreed.
not until it's pretty incapacitated. But if you went missing, would your leech have come to find you, or were you disposable?
If I went missing, somebody would have come to find me. I almost guarantee that. There are others that did go missing that we just wrote off. So it depends on how integral this guy is to the whole operation, which I don't think he is. I think it's the wife that's the anchor to this whole thing. I think he's just, along for the ride. And intuition could still be completely off about that. So that's my disclaimer.
Can I point out that we have a bigger problem than any of that? Where the hell is Morgan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that.
I also have thoughts.
This is going to be weird to say, but I bet your idea is saner than mine.
Well, you go ahead and we'll compare notes.
I was just going to go ask Derek.
Honestly, that's who I'm pretty sure has her. I don't think it was Derek that came and did the deed himself, because he doesn't seem like the type to get his own hands dirty, especially in that suit. Once you meet him, you'll understand. It's the suit. The suit says everything about him. But I'm pretty sure that's where she wound up, which is a problem in and unto itself, because that means he has her real name and everything like that. And I lied my ass off to him about who she was. So,
To what end? Why would
Keepers.
Derek take Morgan and leave just a rose behind? If it was they want you to do something for them, why wouldn't they leave a note, message, call your cell phone, drop a voicemail, send you an email? Just dropping a rose and kidnapping somebody? I mean, what are we supposed to take away from that? What I mean, unless it's just done to hurt you, which I thought your interaction with Derek last time was just to stay the hell away from all this nonsense.
again, I would agree. That was my understanding of it. But
Because here's the problem.
Hey.
Let's say I'm right and it wasn't Derek. And he told your ass the next time he sees you, you're gonna die. So you go waltzing in there thinking he's leaving you some kind of message. and you get your fucking head ripped off.
In that case, we call ahead.
Well, so that was why I was saying that I would go. He doesn't know me up from down.
So why would he talk to you?
Bring back his rose.
How do we know it's? I'm not. I don't have any better ideas. So, I mean, I just think it sounds like a terrible idea.
I agree.
I'm not a fan of
I
it.
agree.
And Riley can't go anywhere near that area at all.
So
Couldn't even make a phone call.
So we could play it this way. We could, if there's anything I've learned in my service, in my indentured service, I gotta find the right words for this. You get what I'm saying? In my time with leeches, the thing that I learned about them is that it's reputation and pride over everything. So we play to that pride, right? Oh, wow. Hey, you're so cool. Can we have our friend back, please? That's paraphrasing. That's not exactly what the plan is. But you hype him up, you take out his knees while he's all puffed up.
Jonas,
that's my
does
thought.
Derek know you know Riley?
He may. We think that something was
Maybe
following us afterwards.
maybe you approach. What was the name you gave him for Morgan?
It was Alexis.
So maybe you approach Derek completely unaware of the fact that he is a leech. You were given his name by Riley as someone who knows things, and that your friend disappeared and he had met her, and so maybe he could be of some assistance.
Okay. I guess my concern is at this point, Morgan is a missing person. Missing people who are missing for more than 72 hours typically don't. So my normal approach of go figure out where this thing might call a bolt hole, kick the hornet's nest, and leave a trap for where they run to, like, it's not going to work here. Hence my saying, maybe we just take the direct approach and get lucky.
But we're not supposed to know these things exist, right?
Right. They
Yeah.
they do their level best to avoid us, or at least make sure we don't know who they are.
And if he knows that you know Riley and you know what he is, who do you think he's going to think told you?
Well, I'm not trying to imply that he's a leech, just that whoever left the rose with the implication that it would be significant. Us
But again-
understanding that their calling card is important to them.
But why would so is the thought there to tell him that Riley told you that the rose is important to Derek?
Yeah.
It's worth a shot. Have you got a last will and testament put together?
Yeah.
Just checking. Code to the safe.
Don't have anything
Just
worth keeping in a safe.
At the risk of being a party pooper, isn't this the kind of shit that normally we would say, okay, cell's over, go to ground? We got a leech with one of our people who knows where one of our other people lives. We got no plan. We're gonna walk in and ask.
No, we're not going to walk in and ask. Jonas is.
If this was a random person, maybe. But Morgan's one of us. I don't see us leaving somebody behind That's it. Yeah, there's no rest
No,
of it.
I agree. I don't think I'm not saying we should leave her behind. I'm saying we need to be clear-eyed that after we get her out, it may be time to get out of Indy.
I would say that by the time we get her out, we lay low for a while, but getting out of Indy, I don't think is the right. There's too much going on here. And if we don't do something about it at this point, then I mean the the butchers downtown are going to do it for us.
I mean, to Brick's point, we're not the military. We're not even the Orpheus group. They're lab rats. We are effective because they don't see us coming and they don't know who we are. Derek, in this case, is neither of those things. So I understand the caution. I can't see us leaving their hands. And I can't leave. If the two of you want to leave Indy, if the three of you want to leave Indy, or all of you, that's fine. But I can't leave. I've got too much here.
Look, we try to figure out what's going on with Morgan. We finish off this Mostro thing, and then we reevaluate. Fair enough, Brick?
Yeah, but just like Jonas, we're not fast like them. We don't have magic powers, right? I got a gun.
Right.
And once they know I'm coming, I'm dead.
Right, I get you. And so you gotta I hope you're a good liar, Jonas.
Yeah.
Hesitation makes me very confident in your abilities. Sorry, that was shitty. That was catty. Ignore that. I'm sorry. That was fucked
It's
up.
okay. I was just thinking about
You know, Riley,
a former life.
just call him.
Call him?
Yeah. Get shitty with him. Ask him where the hell your friend is.
Oh, I could bet. I'm gonna call. All right, then I'll pull out my phone. There's a quick Google search. I'm calling specifically the patron saint. I'm calling the bar. Like I'm calling the club.
Sure. You go ahead, and a few rings go by, and you hear this loud music playing in the background. Yeah.
Hey, I was given this number to get in touch with Mr. Brink. That he might have some work for me.
The line immediately goes on hold.
I'm on hold. You said get shitty, right?
Well, angry. Your friend. He stole your friend. Get angry.
100%. Oh, I'm just making sure that I'm not writing a check that might bounce.
Well, my hope is that you'll be able to tell if he's lying to you, if he says, I don't know what you're talking about, or you'll be able to tell if he's telling the truth when he goes, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
That's valid. All right. Cool. Game on.
Hello?
Does this sound like... All right. Mr. Brink, I presume.
Yes, lover boy.
Damn, y'all got some good caller ID.
No, I just recognize your voice.
Damn, it sucks being famous sometimes.
I know.
You would. Now, I know the last time we spoke, it was a little uneasy. And I wanted to say that I received your present, and I have questions. So I want to know if this is a good time to talk, or if there is a better time to do that.
I can assure you that I had left no present for you.
I'm going to insight the fuck out of that over the phone.
Go ahead and roll. What's an insight over the phone?
Yeah.
Just pre-spend the willpower.
Wits and insight is not bad for me. Thank. Nope. So. And what is our desperation at the moment? Is it still 2?
It is still 2.
I don't think this is desperationable for you, is it?
Yeah, it's gathering information in the sake of a hunt. I'm subterfuge. Wow, that just rattled off real quick. I'm proud of myself for that one. Holy crap.
Yeah, I thought underground was all about hiding.
Yeah, aren't you underground?
Yeah, okay. So it's underground, but it is for the sake of gathering information is where I was going with that. I can find that real fast.
Guile, subterfuge, and knowing the right people.
So then in that case, I would leave that up to the storyteller there. Do you feel like this is
see here? Let me take a small gander, as it were.
Feels kind of subterfuge.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Stealth and subterfuge and service of the hunt are the desperation dice fields.
I will allow it.
Hell yeah. And we're at 2 currently, correct?
Correct. Oh, and as a reminder, currently Brick cannot use desperation dice because they are underneath despair.
I got a flamethrower. I think we're gonna manage.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're Marshall.
Oh, I got to defeat a monster.
Oh no! I forgot to roll up.
These next 2 are the desperation dice.
Heard. Can you roll a 1 for me? That'd be sick.
Nope. But I am going to willpower the willpowerable.
Indeed.
Riley, for the love of God.
I did drugs before making this phone call. I'm all over the place.
8 dice, no successes.
That's what I'm saying.
That's impressive. I actually get to use these dice tonight, guys.
Oh my god, 1 success total.
You know, weirdly, you can't tell.
That's fair. All right. Then everybody else in the car, you kind of see Riley's shoulders drop just a little bit and the head tilt. There's a pause on the phone before Riley continues in the way of, all right, then I have some questions. And I am willing to well, we'll see if you're willing to play ball. Because I'm willing to play ball if you are. There's no hostility, there's no nothing on my end. I just want my friend back.
You know how we do in our line of work. And that price gets very expensive very, very quickly. And my friend, getting a person back is very expensive, even for your blood.
So, riddle me this. Are you aware of where my friend is? Or who took them? I'm not looking for names right now, just a simple yes or no.
Like you said at the beginning of this call, it sucks to be famous. And when you're famous, you have a lot of friends. So no, I don't know which one of your friends went missing.
All right.
But what is this calling card you claim to have that led you to me?
There was a single, very, very pretty red rose left, specifically for, I'm assuming, me to find. My friend is gone. The rose is there. I figured breadcrumbs for breadcrumbs, so follow that trail.
You know,
Trina whips out a notebook and writes "from my house" and holds it up in front of his face.
Yeah. From my house, even. So I figure.
the thing about breadcrumbs is that there's a lot of things that can leave them. You can purposely leave them. Or sometimes they're just left after a snack.
Doesn't feel like a snacking opportunity to me.
Of course not, and I'm not
Maybe.
insinuating that they could have been taken for a snack. But what I'm saying is that maybe they were led there or left there to find a easy way to distract you, make you waste time. Because I'm assuming while you're having this wonderful conversation with me, lower boy, that this is maybe the only thread you're chasing, and the other person's getting further and further and further and further and further away with your friend.
Well, Occam's razor, my dear Mr. Brink. So sometimes you have to follow up on the most obvious answer first before you pull out any other threads. Now, this is the very specific question. I know during our last meeting, it was said, should you see me again, things would not end well. I would like to exchange information for my friend in the way of I present what I have, you tell me what you know, I go get my friend back, we go our separate ways. Is that agreeable? I'm not asking anything too deep. I'm not asking anything too hot, like to anything. Just a few simple yeses, nos. Maybe is not an acceptable answer in this context.
It's very bold of someone of your stature to be making claims of what is acceptable, what is not acceptable.
I am coming to you as a businessman.
Perfect. Well, then as a business individual.
I appreciate that. Thank you. More effort than my previous ever made.
Well, I'm fine to make this one exception. But if I have to close down my club again,
No.
you and anyone you've been in contact with within the last 48 hours will cease to exist. And please know that I have very good connections.
I would assume that you would. So, what I would be asking in this case, as to avoid closing down your club, neutral location for both parties, and guaranteed, I don't know the right word here, passage? Anything like that? Nobody's coming to do any harm to anybody. This is just a conversation. And I'm saying that up front because I know the last time we talked, you were a little bit squirrely about what my intentions were.
Yes, your kind has that spunk about them.
Right. That's not
So
what
how
this is
about
about.
this? We can meet in a mutual location. I will have a third party send us a text message of a location that we have 25 minutes to arrive to
From right now?
from right now. That way, there's no time
got
for
it.
either one of us to prep, no time for an ambush to be perfectly set.
Is this a third party that I know?
No. It is a third party that I know, and I can understand some contempt there.
Well, you can. I was going to ask if you could understand my hesitation for that, but
I can. But you want the information, sometimes you have to stretch a little bit for it.
believe me, I'm bending over backwards right now.
Good. And they disconnect the phone line.
All right. Riley puts the phone back, like actually just up on the dashboard for a second. That was stressful. We've got 25 minutes. I'm going to get an address. We have 25 minutes to get there. Mutually agreed upon third party location. I negotiated no harm to anybody as long as we play nice too. And this is strictly just a conversation asking questions about how to get Morgan back.
Jonas,
Why
would
is
you
this thing?
feel
Why is this thing bound to any agreement it made with you?
Optics, perception, pride.
They give a flying fuck about the optics of us.
They give a fuck about the optics of me.
I guess I see Brick's point. Would you honor an agreement you made with the stake?
It was a famous stake.
Yeah, but if you're the only ones there when it dies, I mean, you can tell whatever story you want.
Very fair.
Why are we bound to honor any agreements with it?
Because that's how we get out safe.
Yeah, I was gonna say if we look like we're not gonna, it's just gonna kill us outright. But I'm not interested.
This
in
feels
meeting
like
this
the Happy
thing.
Meal is trying to get uppity with the person who's eating it and is relying on some sort of goodwill that probably doesn't exist.
What I'm thinking.
Buzz, buzz. Your phone
Check the
vibrates.
phone. Yep.
Indian Stadium, downtown.
Baseball, anybody?
We're pretty close, right? We were already.
Oh,
Yeah, you guys are probably maybe 7-8 minutes away.
cool. Then before I start driving, or who's driving. Oh, Jonas. So I'm gonna look at Jonas then. I mean, we're close enough. We could. It's real easy, but if you know, anybody wants to stay in the car, I'm not gonna fault you for that.
Oh, I have no intention of letting this thing see my face if I can avoid it.
Then absolutely, I will happily be your shield in that regard. And if that came out any sort of shitty, that was not the intent.
It didn't.
Okay. They already know me, so I might as well so it'd be easier to just keep my face on this. You know what I mean?
Did you say you were coming alone?
No. And neither did he. However, I did not expect him to.
Shit.
He's a flashy, flamboyant guy. He's gonna want people around.
Why?
Pride? Anything else? Stature? I'm not trying to
But-
put too much into my own. I'm not trying to inflate my own ego tier too hard. But there's to them, I might just be another meal, but I'm at least a meal with skills to them.
But you're like a
So-
tool.
Yeah.
So
famous
if you break a tool, I mean, even if it's a snap-on, you don't care. You just go buy another tool.
There would at least be some remorse in it, so some second thought, I would think. and that's where
How well you know
I'm-
him?
nowhere near as well as my previous, but I know that he's of the same clan as we found out. That's what they're called, I guess. That feels weird and pretentious. Uh, Same clan, same ideals. Usually, I think is what she was saying. Uh, so, I mean, everybody's different, right? But if you still want that, if you want the nice things, if you want the pretty things, then when it comes to humans, I'm one of the nice and the pretty things. So it would be a terrible thing to destroy a masterpiece, right? Now that's to pump my own ego a little bit.
Yeah, Brick, I'm imagining you want to steer clear as well.
This whole conversation is one gigantic red flag.
So
Yeah, this feels it's a trap to me, and I'm reluctant to let these people know who I am, but this is all happening in a rush unless they've got a trap, like one of those trapdoor spider situations thing, just set up and ready to go for anyone who comes along at a baseball stadium. Then this might be this guy coming out of his shell for a minute. I'm thinking maybe we drop Trina and Brick off somewhere else. This could be a chance to hit this thing coming in or out. They're not going to have a lot of prep, but we just got a flamethrower, right? So,
and now I'm conflicted. Do I absolutely want to nail this guy? 100%. But I'm also trying to make sure that we're getting the information that we need to get Morgan home.
okay, then out. Get him on the way out.
That's fair.
Okay, just to help my simple brain here, what makes us think that he even knows where she is or can even find out?
There wasn't much to go off of just based on voice alone. But I have a hunch that you run in a gang, you know mostly everybody. Or, if somebody's trying to lead somebody back, like if somebody's trying to frame somebody, then you want to know who did it so you can get yours, right?
I mean, I don't know. I guess I got a different way of looking at this. I don't know the inside minds of these things. I mean, I always assumed they just looked at us like cows, and if a cow thinks badly of me because I stole somebody from them, I'm not gonna give a shit. I'm so sorry. It's late. It's been a long night. I'm I'm not gonna give a care whether that cow thinks I'm a bad person or not. I don't care. The cow's the cow. It's there to be fed upon. And if I want to do whatever the hell I want to with that cow, from knocking its head and tearing its skin off and wearing its skin like a robe, what the hell's the cow got to say about it? And like I said, maybe my understanding of their nature is different, but that's just kind of what I've always thought.
I mean, you're kind of spot on.
So
I mean,
what's Derek's motivation to give a care whether you think he did something to your friend or not?
First off, I gotta say, I think I like you 10 times more when you swear. It's just humanizing for some reason. Uh, but my thought on it keeps coming back around to, if you want the pretty stuff, take the pretty stuff, right? if you want the nice things, the luxuries, everything like that, that's what I was known for. I was very good at it. So this might be a way of, manipulation long game for him, but I'm better. I'm more focused on a task, on a purpose. So that's not just something that's going to happen anymore. And if we put a time frame on it, right? Then if you don't hear from me in X amount of time or anything like that, drive your car through the meat.
Yeah. So we don't have a lot of time.
We gotta.
I think we need to pick whether we're doing this now-ish. And I think a big part of my vote comes down to this is a mighty big place, a lot of ways in and out, difficult to control sight lines, difficult to control exits.
Yeah, it's a perfect place for something like this. You can get in
If
and
I
get
may,
out unseen.
can I just restate in human terms what exactly we're doing here?
Well,
Riley
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Riley used to be a gang leader's side piece, right? There no real love there.
That's a good way to put it.
Gang leader's dead. Riley's involved. We're involved. They know that. Riley is going to another gang leader for information, relying on the fact that they were good in bed to keep
You don't know.
all of us
You
safe.
don't know what-
We are going someplace that they are saying is a neutral third party that we don't know. I've got traps laid out that I could take all of us to that you don't know. We're assuming Indian Stadium is safe because why? All because
it's big.
Riley's
a lot of traffic.
reputation.
No, Indian Stadium's big and it gets a lot of traffic. I think that if it would be difficult to manage that atmosphere. And to be clear, Rick, the reason I was asking the question was if we get there in 8 minutes, hypothetically, they're not going to be there for another 7. Is that long enough for you to set up an ambush?
No, if we're walking into we have to assume that we are walking into a well-laid trap. And that we have absolutely nothing to offer these people.
So here's my thought on it, and I actually kind of just thought of this. I remember very distinctly being told time and time again what my boundaries were as far as where I could and couldn't pick people up from and that kind of stuff. Right? So to put it in our like people terms, gangland boundaries are real and they respect them to the point of like any other gang would. You cross the wrong line, there's problems. So I don't know what Derek's gang's territory looks like, but this being a space that was set up by a third party, that this tells me it's probably outside of his jurisdiction.
You're taking
Being set up by a third party means that I mean you're taking it on faith that that's not a blatant lie.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm out.
Yeah, no,
No.
this is an information exchange. If Morgan was there, okay, maybe it's worth doing something this colossally stupid. But this sounds like a terrible idea.
It does.
Yeah, Riley, I don't think you should do it. I think you should call him back and tell him you've had a change of heart. Because here's the thing, honey. If he is looking just to nab you up again, well, maybe it's this time to get that information he didn't squirrel out of you last time. Maybe this time he don't aim to play so nice. Maybe since the last time you met one of your friends who used to also be under the sway of the Pizza King squealed on exactly who helped the people kill the Pizza King.
What a weird
Now,
name, by the way.
they're looking to get some payback for the Pizza King.
That could all very well be possibility.
And we don't have any guarantee that this guy can even deliver the goods, that he knows jack diddly squat about where Morgan is, or can find her faster than we can.
What other leads do we have aside from the rose?
Well, I mean, we've got the fact that we got cameras, so the Orpheus group's going to pull that data for us. Might take a little bit of time. You know, we could go to the police and finalize our report, and we could mention the black SUV that was seen screaming down the street. Maybe they can access traffic cams. You know, once we put her in as an actual missing person, that'll turn up the heat on things, and report her as a kidnap. That'll turn the heat up on things. I mean, here's the thing. I don't want to be indebted to any supernatural entity, and you're not walking away from this scot-free. You're going to owe something.
Right.
And even if that something is helping them catch more people to drink the blood of, you can shake your head all you want that you ain't going to do it, but you're going to do it if he twists the screws.
Twist the screws, sure. What we have to offer in this is information on the Monstro.
We should not give them any information because we don't know. Why are we looking into it? That's going to be my first question. If I'm him, I'll be like, why are you looking into this creature?
Do we know that he cares?
That's a great point.
It's a big spooky thing that keeps killing people. The more people that die, the less food they have. So it is quite literally an invasive species destroying their ecosystem.
But we can count the number of people it's killed on one hand.
Right.
So how big is Indianapolis? How many people? And this thing's going to go underground soon anyways if the pattern holds true. So it won't be a problem for long. And I know that's not something they know, but once again, like Brick said, do we know if they care?
Just as a sidebar, at this point, you guys have about 20 minutes to make it there. So just a heads up. But we're at about
Cool.
5-minute
That's
mark
about-
so far in the conversation.
Cool. So
I say we pivot. I say we either bail on this entirely and go to safety, or we stand them up, try to find somewhere that we can see Victory Field, see who shows up.
My vote is we pivot and go to safety. I think we stay as far the hell away from there as possible so they're not flagging people, flagging cars, getting any more information than they already have on us.
I do have one thought. How close is this to the hotel where I stashed my rifle?
You can actually see the stadium. It's across the street. Like literally, literally the stadium, a street, hotel.
So this is really close to his bar.
It is about 3 streets over from the bar.
So yes.
So his turf. But potentially I can find a spot that'll have some visibility if the meet is happening in like a parking lot or something.
So I don't have a way to say this that doesn't sound shitty. So I'm prefacing that ahead of time. I really wish this is shit that we talked about before I made this fucking phone call.
No one told you to schedule a meet. That was your idea. I told you to find out if they knew. He said he didn't know. You're the one who decided to press and make a deal to get information exchange. I didn't say shit about that.
All right.
Dang.
Let's have this argument after.
Riley, you do this every time. You make my blood boil and you get me cussing. And I'm just.
I'm just saying we had all
Hey.
kinds.
Hey, let's
We don't have time for this.
Look, just call him back, tell him you changed your mind. No harm, no foul. You had to walk 3 streets.
What number was that text sent from?
It was an unknown number.
Unknown number. Cool. All right. I'll call patron safe back.
Yellow.
Before you call,
Okay.
let's if everything that Riley is, I want to know what we know, right? Riley seems to think that there's dishonor and trade system, blah blah blah. It feels like if Riley backs out of this is a closed door forever, right?
Yes.
Do we think that we can call this guy if in the future we decide we do need something from him? Are we going to be able to get it, having stood him up once?
Rick, what do you think we need from this individual? I mean, our goal is to kill things like this, right? Not make deals with them?
Like, yes, but whoever took Morgan left a rose, right? Clearly, it's from Riley's past, right? I mean, it's something to do with leeches.
Or it's
How are we
somebody
going to?
trying to throw us off the scent and go wasting time with Derek?
Who knows enough about leeches to throw us off the scent, right?
Probably
I mean,
another
we don't
leech.
have- yeah, I mean, I don't have that I know of any enemies that would go to that level, right? Like this is probably somebody. This Riley's house, and it's a message for Riley.
Well,
Riley, do you have non-leech enemies?
Leeches have kind of been my life for the past few years. I don't really know anybody outside of that circle mostly.
Well, if we know that a leech is involved with the Mostros, and the Mostros show up at the same time as this individual, and are able to enter the home without any issues, the Mostros didn't bother them one bit, it could be the possibility that the person who showed up is the one who controls the Mostros. And if they're a part of the leech scene, they probably know who Loverboy is, and they know who his master, who their master was, and what clan. You are right. That is weird. What clan they were a part of, so to speak. So, I mean, we're connecting dots. That's just as easy to connect.
I mean, I can make this call. I can.
What do you think, Riley?
I don't know. I don't. I don't know what the right answer is. I know what the wrong answer is, and the wrong answer is to sit here and do nothing. But I think right now we have a window, maybe not the safest window, but a window to be able to get some information somehow, some way. If even if it doesn't necessarily pertain directly to Morgan, and there's a chance there could be other information that is either let slip or given in this. I don't want to have to pay any of the actual debt or anything like that that comes with it, but I'm also not going to make any of y'all have to put that bill if that's where this comes from. It's morally conflicting. Potentially hurt a couple to save one. I don't know if that's a valid trade-off or if that makes me any better than what I was just pissed off about at Orpheus Group. So that's where I'm at in all of this. I'm at a spot where I'm still trying to prove my worth to y'all in some way, shape, or form to make it seem like I was actually worth the save and not just here to be angry and shitty all the time.
We wouldn't be trying to make sure you weren't walking into a kill box if we didn't want you still around.
Valid. And I can understand that. But there's that shit-eating voice in the back of my head that's just like, so what do you provide? And right now, I provide means of insight that nobody else does. Right now, I provide a way into a culture that we don't have otherwise.
We've been using you all wrong.
In what way?
We just need you to seduce a computer nerd who can hack into the system and get us what we need.
I mean, I don't know why I didn't think about that either, but I could.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I've been doing this all wrong. Where do computer nerds hang out?
and like, I have no problem if that is what my value added to this group. Awesome, I'm in.
No, I'm just saying, you've
But-
got the charm. That's your natural talent. Lean into it. Get them to do what you need. Wrap them around your finger. Get the info, and then get out.
Right?
So, a thought: if we think that this thing might actually be where Morgan is, and if we think that a trade of information is something healing them, I don't want to be involved in their crap, but if they know this much and if they can pull this much, I know things too. Part of how I got involved in all of this is that I talk to some of the people that get impacted by these things as activity most, and who most people completely overlook in our work. I work with y'all as sort of a hub of that. I could offer a trade. That is something that could be legitimately valuable to people that they can only get with a lie.
I feel like the plight of the bite junkie is a little heavier than that of the blood junkie.
But I'm still okay to just walk away from this.
My gut's screaming at me, telling me that we need to walk away from it. It feels like there's high risk and no guarantee of reward. And
Right.
it just feels, everything about it feels off. My intuition's screaming at me that this is not jive.
All right.
Yeah, I liked it more when I thought that we could light a three on fire.
So, no, and like, I'll defer to your judgment on that.
Let's get my rifle. Let's case the place. We got time.
Okay.
Then how about this? Bruce, is there enough time, do you think, from where we're at right now for me to walk to the meet?
If you were to walk there, you'd probably be getting there just with a couple minutes left before the deadline.
Okay. Then, from right here, I will walk to the meet. Y'all take the car. It's faster. Get over there, case the spot. If anything feels any more ridiculous or sketchy, whatever you want to call it, give me a call. We back out. I disappear into the night, right? And we rendezvous back at what? The center?
Think God, going that far out there, it feels like we rendezvous in like Moscow. But
Like-
I don't hate it, Riley, except that I think that what I'm saying is that if we're doing this, I would rather if it was me and not
I mean, I can call and adjust terms, or we can go together. There's nothing in the terms initially set to say that I'm coming alone. I don't want your face on this if you don't want it on there.
I
I will
think
point out, I do think we're acting like there's nothing to gain from this. If this isn't a trap and we don't all die horribly, we will have laid the groundwork to catch all these leeches next time, because they'll assume that we're going to follow through and we aren't going to blow them up. So it might be worth it.
right. And I just think that I'm perhaps more likely to be able to walk out if I walk. Like I said, I have something to offer them that's more than dangling like a puppet and that they can't get it.
Valid. Then I'll look at everybody else. How do we feel about that? I'll stick with, in that case, I would stick with the case team, and Jonas would go to the meet. Am I understanding that right, Jonas?
Yeah.
Okay, making sure. How do we all feel about that? That keeps me out of potential way of blood relapse. Also sounds fucking weird.
Wouldn't that be just as bad as not showing at all?
I can call and I can say that I'm sending a second. Somebody in my stead.
But they don't know him.
Right. But
This
with
person
my
So-
endorsement,
thinks that they
I'm just
do.
saying red flags would be going up for me. You know what I mean?
not fair. Like, I'm just saying.
I think if Jonas
like,
is going in, he shouldn't go in alone. And Riley, you're kind of a known quantity to them, so
Agreed. Should be the two of you.
and we'll do Overwatch.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna open up the glove compartment and grab my pistol out of the glove box and put it in my waistband.
Love it.
Cool.
You shot that more than a couple times,
Yeah, Brick taught me how to shoot.
so you've been using that for as long as you've known Brick or less.
Yeah, but like
Give it to me.
it was a training montage.
Give it to me.
Fine.
If you need to use it, you're probably going to already be dead. So
I agree, but give it to me.
Fine. Pretty good shot.
Right. Let's
But-
go see if I
All
can
right.
get my rifle and get
Yeah.
you're
Overwatch.
okay with it, Jonas. We'll take your car.
Yeah,
We'll
please
set up
do.
at the Marriott across the way.
You guys head over to the Marriott and you head back to the floor where your rifle was. Brick, and you pop open the little drop down roof, and sure enough, your rifle is still there.
Well, good sign.
Check that barrel.
Um, you do have a very clear light of sight, just even from the floor you're on, of the baseball stadium. And you do see already there, which is roughly about 13 12 minutes left before the go time. You do see a individual sitting on the pitcher's mound wearing a crimson suit.
Oh, we're like on the field. Okay.
Yeah, on the field.
Oh. Okay. Feel a little better about that. Yeah, I will consider all the different ways I could headshot Derek from here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is the Impala in the parking lot anywhere?
It does not look like it. No.
I will check my blink cam outside of the patron saint and see if it's parked over there.
It is.
Oh God, there's a part of me that just wants to go blow it up so bad. These Russian men coming out.
No.
Stupid Derek.
No. Let him say where he's hidden at. Do not bring him out to play.
I'll be honest with Trina. Once the other two are out of the car, part of Brick's math on this is the worst case is we tie up some very loose ends.
Oh no. With that being said, we will go ahead and wrap up here for this evening, as we will go ahead and have it be right as next week. We'll have it be as Jonas and Riley walk in to the stadium. Thank you guys so much for coming, hanging out. Really do appreciate it. If you guys haven't already, make sure to head over to Adventure Dice and use code JBrews for 10% off your order. Only thing that does exclude is going to be the charity sets, because we do want to make sure that those charities do get the full price to be able to help out with their causes. Excuse me. I'm in the process of just dying. As a disclaimer, we are in the process of getting all this set up correctly, but as a disclaimer, a portion of the materials are copyrights and trademarks of Paradox Interactive AB, and are used with permission. All rights reserved. For more information, please visit worldofdarkness.com. And we are part of the Dark Pack. So if you guys are interested, make sure you head over to World of Darkness and see what all that cool information is about. Otherwise, guys, we will see you guys next week on another episode of Hunting Indy by Night. And have a good night, guys.
Bye.